What is your key to never running out of things to talk about? I feel like I have reached a point where we have talked so much that I can't think of anything else to discuss except just general day stuff. I need to figure out how to prolong our conversations so we don't get bored and ruin the relationship. Story 1. I read The Five Love Languages. The author suggested that each person write down 5 interesting things that happened to them over the course of the day. Then, at dinner or in the evening, you can talk about those interesting things. Story 2. Philosophical conversations. Listen to podcasts and talk about the topics. Current events. Go to places where you can talk about museums, galleries, movies, travel, etc. Conspiracies. Story 3. You focus on yourself and you help your girlfriend focus on herself. When there are two people constantly growing, experiencing new things, pursuing their dreams, and doing things they want to do, you don't run out of conversation topics. If you have nothing to talk about, it probably means you're not doing much to help yourself be the best you can be. Story 4. Sorry, I'm not a man, but I have been with men, and there are plenty of ways to keep things going. Try sending news articles or fun finds from Reddit. Talk about things you want to do together, like making plans for a getaway. Engage in a little healthy debate if they're willing to discuss controversial topics. It's also fine if some days you just talk about everyday happenings, and it's okay if some days you send only a dozen texts back and forth or have even less contact. Having that time where you miss each other a bit makes for better conversation when you get back into it. Story 5. My wife had to subscribe to the Wall Street Journal for a college class. It was a huge boost to our conversations. Now she always has something interesting to discuss. Story 6. Woman here. Sorry. I'm answering because I haven't seen anyone point this out yet. You can keep conversations fresh by keeping your lives fresh. Make sure you both have enough time apart per week so that when you are together, you have stories to tell. If you're apart for the workday, or you both have plans for a night, don't just text her the entire time. Also, make an effort to do new activities on some dates so you're not just going to dinner and a movie every week. It will naturally give you both things to discuss if you just spend an hour taking a class, trying a new activity, playing a new game, or hanging out with other couples and friends together. There's that one episode of Lewis where he tells his daughters that it's an affront to life to feel bored. Only boring people are bored. Go do something new with her. Story 7. In terms of day-to-day stuff, don't just leave it at this happened, that happened. Ask her how those things made her feel and encourage her to do the same for you. It's one thing for your significant other to tell what happened in their day, and it's another for them to tell you how these things made them feel. This increases conversation and deepens the bond and understanding of each other. The fact that you are actively trying to address this shows how much your significant other means to you. Story 8. It depends on the relationship. Some people you can talk with forever without running out of things. With others, it fades over time. Not much you can do about it except decide you're uncomfortable with it. Story 9. Personally, my girlfriend and I find things to talk about because we have our own hobbies and likes, but we also go on adventures together. This results in having personal opinions, jokes, and experiences that you can share and talk about. That being said, I do agree with every person on this thread who said learn to enjoy being silent together. If the relationship gets serious, no one wants to always be hearing a voice talking. It's quite blissful to just be together but feel no pressure to say anything. Story 10. Read books and keep learning. There are so many fascinating things to discuss. Realize that you don't always have to have fresh conversations with her. Ask her about her day and what she's thinking. Find content on Reddit and ask that, haha. Story 11. Enjoy the silence doesn't really work with long-distance relationships. Sometimes it can get stale over messages, so phone or Skype calls are much better. Watching shows at the same time, playing video games in the same lobby, and so on all help to feel closer. Story 12. After so many years together, it can become difficult to find new conversations. But what works for us is that we both read, so there's always some new topic to talk about, and we both joke with each other a lot. I've enjoyed teasing her since the beginning. She has a fantastic, goofy sense of humor and is a really good sport, so I take full advantage. And over the years together, she has become quite the master of teasing herself. But I can't take full credit. Her father, one of the very best people I've ever met, is such a masterful teaser himself. Story 13. Maybe an open door, but I'll risk it. It depends on how deep you can go. How much detail can you see? How much detail do you both find interesting? The deeper your vision, the more pixels in your picture. The more superficial the relationship, the fewer pixels. The more involved you are in her life, her path, her daily experiences, but also a bird's eye view experience, the more there is to talk about. The less, and vice versa. Also, it's not about creating conversations with someone who is not talkative. It's about choosing the right person. Someone who's interested in the same things as you are, or even potentially as interested. Questions like why, since when, how did that start, how do you feel about that, bring more intimacy and substance to a conversation. They show appreciation and involvement. Story 14. I find I'm so comfortable with my girlfriend after all these years that conversation just naturally happens as if it's a stream of consciousness. Like, I don't have to monitor what I say at all, so it's sort of just like I'm thinking out loud all the time when I'm with her. I don't even have to think about keeping the conversation going. It just flows like my thoughts. Story 15. Not a dude, but whenever my significant other and I run out of stuff to talk about but want to keep talking, one of us will say, "Ask me a random question, baby." And it could be literally anything under the sun. Story 16. There's immense joy in silence, just sitting with your partner and being together. You don't have to constantly be talking. My boyfriend and I spend about 25% of our time in silence. This also varies based on personality type. My boyfriend and I are both introverted, so silence and alone time are necessary. Story 17. Be playful and try to joke around when you can't think of anything to say. My girlfriend and I can spend hours just saying silly things to each other and being annoying to try to make the other person laugh. Story 18. Only initiate conversation when it's natural and makes sense. I used to force conversation with my wife and it was awful. We both hated it. You just have to let the silence be there when it's natural. If anything, ask her about things she's interested in. Tell her about things you're interested in as well. Story 19. Not every silence needs to be filled. My husband and I have our own interests. He tells me about his guitars, new things he's learning, new licks and chords he's practicing, and what's going on in his video games. We even talk about our children's shows. One day we talked about the science behind a civilization if it truly had Pokemon, how it would run, and how to prevent people from using them for violence. These conversations happen pretty regularly. The difference between us and other couples is we care about what the other is doing. He may not be interested in the Kingdom Hearts 3 storyline as I tell it to him excitedly, but he will sit there, listen, and engage me in the conversation. Story 20. When you finish spending time together, do you both go back to your boxes until you see each other again? You must do things and see things, have things happen to you. Talk about that like the rest of us. Story 21. I've been with my partner for 10 years, and we never run out of things to talk about. Things we watched, funny articles we read, funny happenings, or things we spotted throughout the day. Only boring people get bored. Story 22. Be very eccentric. 80% of the time it's mistaken for confidence. Some girls enjoy silence, so those are out of the question if you want to go that route. Story 23. I've been married for 28 years, and I can't even imagine trying to come up with fresh material every day. Holy crap. General day stuff is necessary too, as is comfortable silence. Aside from that, learning to ask questions is the best skill in any communication. Questions are the lubricant of conversation. Also, listen to the answers so you can ask more questions. Just my 2 cents. Story 24. I know you've probably received the comment of it's more than enough if you two enjoy silence together, and are probably tired of it, but to be quite frank, I feel the same way. I find solace in just hanging out for probably hours in the presence of my significant other because we speak through body language, be it cuddles, looks, gestures, and so on. But to really give hard advice, whenever I feel there is, in fact, some emptiness and conversation must be made, I try to always make an effort to provide something you can do together. Be it watch anime together that we mutually like, play a video game together, watch YouTube videos, or share Reddit or Tumblr posts I know that she will enjoy or make her laugh. Chances are I might spark something from her past. And from there, we will just go on for literally hours talking about short stories from our past. It's not an exaggeration when I say we have a literal lifetime of experiences we could tell stories about. All we need is something to remind us and spark that, oh hey, let me tell you about this one time, and so on. It's all about creating a snowball effect. You can't just start big. You usually have to build up to it through other means. The more you speak, the more comfortable you get with sharing deeper and deeper stories, and maybe even secrets. The simple "how was your day" or "how was work" is fine, but after a while I find it quickly defaults to "my day was meh" or "work was okay," and it all ends there, though for me it goes back to the comfortable silence of hanging out with each other until I feel like I want to play games with them. I hope all of what I said is understandable. I'm really not entirely sure how to word advice like this because this is just from all personal experience and preference. Creating a snowball effect based on a topic or action is my go-to method. Most primarily, I love getting into heated debates or arguments with my girl, be it over anime, games, or, on rare occasions, politics. If any harsh words or negativity are thrown either way, we always, and I mean always, make sure to apologize afterward. There is absolutely nothing worse than going to bed one night after an argument and neither side has apologized or made up. I guarantee you that is something that absolutely must be dealt with on the day of. Not tomorrow, not next week. Get it done at some point that day. Anyway, good luck on your endeavor. Remember, don't try to force it. Let it come naturally or try to build up to it in some roundabout way. Story 25. There's nothing wrong with having nothing to say sometimes. My girlfriend and I don't talk all that much once we are at home, but there's no love lost because of it. We have our own things going on, but if there's something I'm really excited about, she's the first person I tell and vice versa. So basically, don't fret. I would say it's unrealistic for anyone to expect you to always have fun, engaging conversations throughout your relationship. Story 26. Honestly, I'm not even sure how. It just happens. We've been together for over 4 years and talked every day for even longer. But I've never once thought to myself that we are running out of things to talk about. It just comes naturally. We have a very similar sense of humor, so we are always cracking jokes about things going on in the world. Story 27. Oh, I'm saving this. I was talking to my friend, and after a minute of silence during our Discord call, she said, "What is there to talk about? I don't know how to carry a conversation. I'd much rather listen and say, yeah." Story 28. I don't know, what do you talk about with all your other friends? It's not like there's a limited amount of stuff to talk about. There's always new current events or new things happening that are interesting. I totally get what you mean, though, since in the early parts of a relationship you're learning about the other person and it feels like there's a lot to talk about all the time, and that does decrease somewhat as the relationship matures. But that's totally normal and okay. Story 29. I have never had this problem. It is like running out of things to talk about with your friends. It never happens. I do not tell stories that I run out of or facts that I run out of. I just talk about whatever. Story 30. I keep some degree of distance from whatever girl I am seeing. I do not talk to her constantly, and I am okay if we only see each other maybe once or twice a week. I think a lot of relationships go stale because people are with each other constantly and they feel the need for constant attention. Story 31. Jokes. Jokes are fantastic fillers, not jokes someone else came up with, though. Fresh ones. She will really dig that. That's one thing I know for sure. Story 32. In reality, space is key. A decade and a lifetime ago, I was in a relationship, and all I really wanted was a night to myself every couple of weeks. Whether just staying at a hotel overnight after working 2 19-hour days back-to-back or relaxing at my parents' house after watching the game with Dad on Sunday night. She was a total borderline personality disorder nightmare, but I was in my late 20s and unaware of such things. Sometimes just a few hours of silence is great medicine. Story 33. I get the other comments about being able to not talk is a great thing, and I really wholeheartedly agree. But I've been married for 6 years now, and with my wife for 8, and I've found that it's experiences that spark conversation. So get to making new experiences together, or even on your own. Story 34. Actually, it makes me yearn for her more, and appreciate whatever time we do get to spend together or whatever communication we have. When I start seeing a girl, I'm quicker to fall for her than most guys, so I intentionally avoid her and create some sense of distance, just a little bit to slow myself down internally and to avoid coming across too strongly. I've only been doing this in the past couple of years, and it has worked out so far in my favor, as frustrating as it can be sometimes. Story 35. When I am home from school, conversations get stale with my family quickly since we spend all day together. I listen to podcasts that they do not and have found it to be really helpful in bringing up new topics. Story 36. This one is fun. I recently moved to Brazil to be with my wife. This is our first time really living together, so there are the obligatory growing pains associated with that, but nothing that is outside the realm of comfort. We keep texts and calls to a minimum during the day so we have a little to talk about in the evenings. We definitely respect each other's hobbies and interests and give free rein to explore things on our own. As someone else pointed out, this is an easy way to lead to quiet moments if you can handle those. Saturday we went out for dinner at my favorite restaurant in Sao Paulo. It's an Espedo's joint, which has a great atmosphere and generally pleasant people. Imagine eating food on skewers like you'd find at a cookout. Everyone sits outside, has a few beers, you keep ordering and taking food until you're full, and you just talk at your own pace. My wife was really excited about this Netflix series she just finished, Black Earth Rising, and talked me through the plot points and interesting parts of the show. She then asked me what I had been doing on my computer while she finished this, and I told her I had been playing a game about transhumanism. She had no idea what that meant. I'd been playing Deus Ex: Human Revolution. She didn't really care about the game, but was actually interested in the topics, and we had a 4-hour meal just talking, joking, and sharing drinks and food with each other. I really recommend finding Colho if and when you visit Brazil. It was a phenomenal evening. When we finished, we came home and quietly read for a while. It was, in my mind, the perfect example of how having interests and being willing to share them is really a lost communication art. I rambled, don't really know if this made much sense.